We are recording tonight, but welcome to the second of our parent information nights. We're going to kick it off with a video. I'm Vicki Curry. I'm Director of Communications. I am also responsible for enrollment, so I'm here to talk about that process as well. But we're going to kick it off with a video that is an overview of all three of our programs. Give some testimonials about our programs and shows off, because unfortunately we can't come in person for our normal tour of the buildings and meeting of our staff. So we're going to do a little bit differently with this virtual tour, and our staff are here in our panel. There's like 3 steps I have to do. So here we go.
Lincoln Consolidated Schools, serving parts of Washtenaw and Wayne counties, offers a wide range of educational opportunities for your K-5 students. Here at LCS, we offer 3 unique schools for children to receive an education that is best suited to each individual and will assist them to excel in their current studies and beyond. These 3 schools include Brick Elementary, Bishop Elementary, and Childs Elementary. Not only does LCS offer a higher quality education for your child, but we also strive to develop their social skills and emotional well-being. We want to make sure that every parent can rest easy, knowing their child is in a safe and comforting environment where they can express themselves, learn, and grow. Bishop Elementary is a K-5 school with a multi-aged learning environment and combines children from different grades into houses. With mixed age grouping, older students have the opportunity to mentor younger students, allowing for a more friendly and social learning environment.
We liked the multi-age classrooms because we felt like our kids would benefit a little bit more from being in that type of a classroom. For us, it worked really well because we had kids that were already in upper grades, and so it was a chance for them to find friends in the classroom, even in a grade that might be higher than them.
In addition, Bishop offers a Spanish immersion program. The program starts kindergartners and first graders learning the basics of the language, giving the students a head start and fully immersing them in the Spanish culture.
Since we are a school of choice, we have a lot of families that choose to send their students here because they see the value in bilingual education, and they send their students here so that they're able to learn in Spanish and in English and leave the K-5 program being bilingual. During normal years, the students would be going in March in the spring to an exchange program in Spain. So the students are not only able to learn the language, but they're also able to use that by traveling into Spain and really immersing themselves in the culture.
This program is unique to LCS, and only a handful of other schools throughout all of Michigan offer a similar program. Brick Elementary offers students hands-on experience with pre-engineering classes. The STEM program exposes students to real-world problems and teaches them to solve these problems.
So the benefits that I feel like Brick has over other schools is the fact that they have this amazing STEM program. And with this program, they're able to actually learn instead of memorize. They can, use their hands. They can actually explore and research and figure out what they're doing. And I feel like that's different than a lot of other schools.
Also a STEM school, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we continue to strive to broaden and improve the program. In kindergarten, it's more of exploration, but also to have the kids look at things in a different way and experiment with materials and literally think outside the box. In kindergarten, a lot of times we start with materials, things that they might have around the house, Legos and blocks and Unifix cubes and things like that, and we pose different questions to have, first they do free exploration to get familiar with the materials, and then we pose questions to have them try out different things with the materials.
Brick provides access to equipment such as 3D printers, 3D scanners, Tinkercad software, as well as courses that introduce students to engineering technologies. Brick students are able to explore new ways of learning in a more modern environment. Child's Elementary provides students with an education based upon social and community interactions with the help of strong parental presence, PTO, and collaborative teaching techniques.
When you come to Lincoln, you are going to be given a lot of support. Teachers and administrators go above and beyond to make sure that the families have what they need for their children to be successful. For months throughout the beginning of COVID, staff members were also making home visits, making sure that they were dropping off supplies and iPads to families that weren't able to get up to the school. So you can be rest assured that if there's ever anything that you need, the school will do their best effort to make sure that they can provide it for you.
I feel like all of the teachers our children have had not only know their student, but us as a family, and it's nice that they make that effort to learn about the child and their family and what works best for that family to help the child succeed. Our oldest son, Owen, is in 2nd grade here. He has Mrs. Ricker as a teacher, and this has been a really tough school year for all of the children. And she went above and beyond one weekend, and she reached out to us and asked if she could come to the local soccer field and watch him play a game. And she showed up, and his eyes lit up when he saw his teacher. He felt so special and made us feel nice as a family that she took the time out of her weekend to come and support him.
With an emphasis on community-inclusive learning styles, this helps students to prepare for social environments in their young adulthood and work through diverse societies via engagement and collaboration. Here at LCS, all buildings offer Young 5 kindergarten for students who are not ready for traditional kindergarten. Kindergarten students must be 5 years old by December 1st. We provide a unique, strong, and impactful education that is best suited for your child. For more information and enrollment options, please visit lincolnk12.org or reach out to us by email or phone.
And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Smith, and she can introduce you to Bishop and the staff there.
6th place pupils from Lincoln, Spurlock from Grimsley in 7th, and Salas from Lingle will pick up 8th place. That is the second heat of the 8th grade girls 100-meter hurdles.
We're getting some feedback.
Okay.
Boys and girls, 7th and 8th grade. Coming up next,
Have the radio on?
we have the 100-meter dash. 100-meter dash for the 7th and 8th grade middle school meet number
the other YouTube video after that one.
Brought to you by Clardy.
Sorry. Yes, it is.
My name is Donald Tucker. Pleasure of broadcasting live from the Springdale High School in beautiful Springdale, Arkansas. The Coach Dennis DeBusk track and
I'm going to have to stop sharing for a second.
I think it's gone.
Yep, it's gone now, and now I can share it again. Sorry about that. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, are we good?
Yep.
I can see everything, so it's really hard sometimes for me to see what everybody else can see.
Nope, it's good. You can welcome everybody. My name is Abby Smith. I am the super proud principal of Bishop Elementary. This is my 23rd year in the Lincoln School District and my first year as our principal. I was an upper house teacher with the multi-age program since 1998. And I had the pleasure of applying for the position when Mr. Jansen moved up to become our superintendent this past summer. So it has been a amazingly challenging learning opportunity this year, but I love it. We have a phenomenal staff here at Bishop on top of our parents and our students. So tonight we are very excited. We have many of our K-1 teachers with us this evening. Michelle Williams, Mercedes Benz, Gretchen Guck, Lauren Warner, Melanie Duty, and Danielle Cole. We also have several of our special education and support staff members with us, Courtney Simcoe, Barb Plock, and Sue Brody. We are also very grateful to have one of our extraordinary Bravo parents and our full-time building substitute teacher, Mrs. Laura Carl. One of the things I'm most proud of this fall, at the end of the video that you just watched, if you saw the new playground equipment that was on the blue climbing equipment. So we received money out of the 2018 bond for new playground equipment, and we had all that installed this year. So we are super excited about that. Next slide, please. Our core principles at Bishop Elementary are that we encompass 6 core principles. We believe that parents are our #1 partners. Those are our Bravo parents. Mrs. Carl will speak more about that later. We have multi-age classrooms. We have a high scope learning design. Our staff works collaboratively together from young 5s all the way up through the upper house with grades 4 and 5. Our Spanish Immersion program, which is also a multi-age program within the building, and our Spanish Immersion and English department classrooms are all mixed in together with each other. And we are a proud Michigan Green School. And this is our 5th year being a green school in the state of Michigan. Our multi-age classrooms, we actually have, we have 3 different houses. We have a young 5 kindergarten classroom, and Mrs. Williams works with those, with the young 5s and the kindergartners. Our K1 students are considered our lower house. Our 2-3 students are the middle house, and the 4th and 5th grade teachers make up the upper house. We have different, sorry, Michelle, was this yours?
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay, no big deal. So it's a little bit different. I'm used to people interacting with me. I can get on camera and talk all day long, but it's a little strange just listening to people talk. So my name is Michelle Williams, and I am the Young 5s teacher. And I have had the pleasure of teaching at Lincoln Consolidated for 14 years. All have been in the multi-age program, and I am also a K-12 graduate of Lincoln. So my roots go pretty deep here in the district. With the multi-age classroom, it is a very unique place because it is done where you have different houses. So the students are in there's different grades and ages that are in the same classroom. Students are on a 2-year cycle with curriculum. So we have a year A and a year B. So when the students leave the classroom, if they are in K1, by the time they leave 1st grade, they've received all of kindergarten curriculum and all of 1st grade curriculum. The older students have an opportunity to step up into a leadership role and help coach other kids about things. But not only that, when you are in let's say you're a 1st grader and you're helping a kindergarten understand something by coaching them something, because you're teaching it, you are actually deepening your understanding because you are becoming the teacher and coaching someone else. We also work really hard on model problem solving skills. The students, the upper grade students, are able to help teach other students how to problem solve. And the houses consist of young 5s and kindergarten. We do have kindergarten and 1st grade classrooms, 2nd and 3rd grade classrooms, and 4th and 5th grade classrooms. With that being said, the young 5s through 1st grade is considered the lower house. The 2nd and 3rd grade students are the middle house, and then the 4th and 5th grade students are the upper house. Next slide, please. At Bishop Elementary, we use the high scope learning design. And the high scope learning design is an educational approach that emphasizes on active participatory learning. Active learning means students have direct hands-on experiences with people, objects, events, and ideas. Students' interests and choices are at the heart of the high scope programs, and we have that kind of design in our classroom. They construct their own knowledge through interactions with the world and the people around them. Children take the first step of the learning process by making choices and following through on their plans and decisions. Teachers offer physical, emotional, intellectual supports in active learning settings. Adults expand children's thinking with diverse materials, nurturing interactions, and adults help children gain knowledge and develop creative problem solving. So some of the things with the high scope with the active learning, this picture in the middle is a picture of some students several years ago that were in the Young Fives classroom, and it was snowing outside and we were in the middle of a lesson and it was snowing, and just talking to the students realized that maybe 2 of them had ever built a snowman before. So we got bundled up, and everyone, I always have extra supplies in my classroom, and we got bundled up and we put the kids into different teams, and they made 3 different snowmen out and working together as a team. And then because they'd never done it before, and that was a teaching moment that I could do with them working together with the snow. And then, you know, over here on the bottom left-hand corner, some students, that's something else that we did, interacting with problem solving. They wanted to know how to make something, and that was during the holidays. So we brought in supplies and the students worked together and they made gingerbread Play-Doh. So that was really fun. That was last year's students. Next slide, please. So with the active learning strategies, engagement with materials, actions, events, and ideas, they have the opportunity to make their own choices and decisions when appropriate. That's where it's shared control. They communicate with others. They have an adult-child interaction, and they have intrinsic motivation. The adult-child interaction is a really important component of the multi-age and the high scope philosophy that we've fostered in some of the classrooms. Next slide, please, and that will be Miss Mercedes Benz.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, you heard them right. My name is Mercedes Benz. Today, I will be talking to you about intrinsic motivation. That's one of the key things we focus on here at Bishop Elementary. Intrinsic motivation refers to the behavior driven from internal rewards, and we help motivate students to take pride and ownership in their work and their classroom environments. We believe that if they take pride in their work and their classroom environment, they'll take better care and they'll be better leaders. We also give them effective feedback. So instead of just giving them a compliment that their work was great, we point out specific compliments in their work. So if they're drawing a picture, we might say something about the colors that they used in their sky versus great picture. We want them to take pride in what they created. We also do everything with purpose. We believe intrinsic motivation creates purpose. So like I said, with feedback, we give purposeful and meaningful compliments, but along with our lessons and our workshops that we do. I know that Lower House does a lot of workshopping, and as Ms. Williams said, that we have them practice and we teach them different steps on how to use manipulatives and materials. And in my classroom, as you can see, there's a picture of a child with Play-Doh in front of them, had them create their sight words with Play-Doh, giving them the choice and the purpose to create learning with something that they love and enjoy doing. And speaking of a classroom environment, we'll move on to our next slide with Ms. Guck.
Thank you, Ms. Benz. My name is Ms. Gretchen Guck, and I am a K-1 teacher here at Bishop Elementary School. Like Ms. Michelle Williams, I also am a proud graduate of Lincoln Consolidated Schools, and my life has kind of made its way full circle back here to Bishop Elementary School. And to be quite honest with you all, there is nowhere else I would rather be. So I'm going to talk to you guys this evening about the classroom environment, some of the physical aspects of the classroom. So as you can see, here's a picture. This is just a snapshot of my classroom, but throughout all of the K-1 classrooms, you'll notice that there are some similar features that they have. This includes tables, not desks, and we have shared supplies at each table. Up at the front of the room, there's a group area where we have lots of whole group learning takes place, as well as our morning meetings and closing circles, or end of the day wrap-ups, as you could also call them. Oops. Sorry, my computer just froze. Sorry. So, as I was saying though, if you peer a little bit closer at the table legs, and if you have like a magnifying glass or binoculars, I'm gonna get out my teacher eyeglass here, you'll notice that there are resistant bands similar to what you use when exercising that are on the bottoms of the chairs there. And those are for students to use as they're sitting at their tables doing work. They can kick the bands, and it's great for those busy bodies. So next slide, please. Something that wasn't captured in the original snapshot, or the above snapshot, this is an example of our book area here, and that's another thing that lots of other K-1 classes have. And on each of the book bins, there are something that's called environmental print, and that means that there's a label on something and it depicts what it is. And it's important for young learners as it helps them to develop a stronger vocabulary. And to the right, there is just a sample snapshot of some flexible seating options that we all have within our classrooms for students to utilize as they're learning. And I am going to pass the baton figuratively over to Maestra Warner for classroom environment.
Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, my name is Lauren Warner. I am a K-1 teacher in the Spanish Immersion program here at Bishop Elementary. I'm going to be talking about classroom culture. So these are things that you'll not only see in the K-1 classrooms at Bishop, but all the way through upper house or 4th and 5th grade. And not only in the English classrooms, but also in the Spanish immersion classrooms, because we believe this builds not only classroom culture, but school-wide culture. So in the picture to the left, you'll see students eating in the classroom. So in a typical year, we eat breakfast, lunch, and snack in the classroom, because we believe that provides extra interaction for the kids, social emotional learning opportunities, and other learning opportunities as well. To the right, you'll see a picture of a morning meeting. So that's where the students are greeted, again, interacting with each other, practicing reading and writing skills. Students in the classroom have jobs, so they have extra responsibilities and leadership opportunities in their learning environment. Next slide, please. On this slide, on the left, you'll see some students practicing Daily 5. So we use this as a supplement to our language arts instruction, where students are able to choose how they want to practice their reading and writing skills. To the right, you'll see a picture of some students practicing empathy in action. So we use the Second Steps curriculum to learn social emotional or practice social emotional skills and develop in those areas. So those are some students practicing their empathy skills. And then Ms. Duty is up next with PDR. Next slide, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Melanie Duty, a K-1 teacher here at Bishop. Plan, Do, Review is a dedicated time every day when students have the opportunity to choose an activity in their classroom that they would like to do. PDR begins with planning. Students plan what they would like to do, what materials they will need, and who they would like to do their activity with. Plans in K-1 are often, but not limited to, crafts, Play-Doh, dramatic play, games, puzzles, and a variety of manipulatives. When students are done planning, they begin the do of their plan. Finally, they review their plan and what they did with the class or sometimes with a partner. If they made something such as a craft or something out of manipulatives, they often show it at that time and talk about what they did or how they made it, what materials that they used. And the class can then ask them questions. They can give them compliments, comments. They can give them ideas for ways that they can extend what activity they did into PDR the next day, or they could take it home and extend whatever they had done that day during PDR. So PDR is a time where students can practice life skills such as communication, sharing, taking turns, patience, problem solving, and working with each other. And those skills continue with them all throughout school and life outside of school. Next slide, please. And this is Mrs. Cole.
Hi, I am Danielle Cole. I am a K-1 teacher here at Bishop Elementary, and like a few of my coworkers, I too am a graduate of Lincoln and have made the full circle back to Lincoln as a teacher here. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about our curriculum. All elementary schools in the state are required to follow the learning standards and guidelines that are set by the state. Here is a summary of the topics that we cover in the 2 years the students spend in their K-1 classroom. So like Ms. Williams was talking about earlier, we have a year A and a year B to make sure that we cover all of these topics in the language arts, mathematics, science, social studies, curricular areas in the 2-year span. Next slide, please. Although we cover the same standards, we are different in how we deliver the instruction. Since our goal is to meet our students where they are, we spend a lot of time in small groups. While we are meeting in groups, the other students are engaged in active learning opportunities. There's many benefits to the engagement in the active learning workshops. They get experience with the materials, they are provided choice, they have an opportunity to build communication skills, they are exposed to different group roles based on their strengths and their interests, and that all important active learning, that the hands-on piece of our workshops. Excuse me. Next slide, please. In Bishop, we are a true community. Teachers and staff work very closely together to best serve all of our students. Just like you hear in other places, it takes a village. We truly believe that here at Bishop. We work together to serve the needs of all of our students. What exactly does that look like here at Bishop? Well, the teaming within our houses. Our house teachers collaborate together on student lessons and activities throughout the school year. Not only within our houses, but we have those opportunities where we work with other houses on special activities as well. We also collaborate with our special education staff as our co-teachers. The resources of our special education staff are integrated into our classrooms to meet the needs of all students. They provide language arts and math interventions for the students. We also have a dedicated team of interventionists. Our dedicated interventionists work with the students alongside of the classroom teachers by helping each student reach their full potential. Next slide, please. And with that, I will turn it over to Mrs. Simcoe.
Hi, everyone. I am Courtney Simcoe. I am the lower house resource room teacher. So how special education works in Bishop is students who either come to Bishop with an individual education plan or an IEP, or students who are identified as needing an IEP will receive some kind of academic support from me, or they may receive support from speech, occupational therapy, social work. It all depends on the student's needs. There are two different kinds of support that we do. We do push in, as Mrs. Cole alluded to before, that we collaborate in the classroom, or students will be pulled out from the class and receive their instruction, such as reading or math, with me in the resource room, or their support with speech, occupational therapy, or social work in their room. There are a lot of times where I like to collaborate with the ancillary, so speech, OT, and social work, in my resource room, so that students aren't missing as much time out of the gen ed classroom, and we're able to kind of work together and team teach in such a way. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Clark, who is our speech teacher for Lower House, and she can kind of elaborate more on that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bishop. My name is Barb Clark, and I did not graduate from Lincoln, but all three of my kids are Lincoln graduates and multi-age graduates. So all three of my kids have gone through the multi-age program, and proud of that. As Mrs. Simcoe said, we provide other services at Bishop in addition to resource room. We have speech, OT, social work, physical therapy if needed, and many students are receiving services in the lower house. Most of my caseload is K1 or young fives through first, and it's a great opportunity to be able to go into the classrooms and work with the students. We do small groups in the therapy room, or as Mrs. Simcoe said, with her in her resource room. And so it's a really nice way for kids to be very comfortable working with a variety of people and getting the supports they need. So if you have any concerns after your children start school, if they don't already receive any kind of services, if you're concerned, we're there to support your student and to support you as well. So on that note, next slide, please, and Mrs. Brody.
Sue, you're on mute.
It was so good too. Hi.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's the story of my life. I'm Sue Brody. I'm the reading interventionist here at Bishop Elementary, and the focus of reading intervention for kindergarten is to help lay that foundation for reading skills for the children to build on throughout their career. The slide I chose to share with you tonight is about reading to your child. It's so important that kids hear more and more language every day. If the studies show that if you read 20 minutes to your child, by the time they finish a year, that's 1,800,000 words they get in their ear. And if you only read 8 minutes a day, it's only 8,000 words a year. And for us to build that reading foundation, they have to have a listening vocabulary that's much, much higher than any reading vocabulary. So I encourage you to read to your kids all the time. One of the things we do is we build readers by helping them understand how words work. We start with letter names and letter sounds, and then we start taking those letter sounds and putting them together, pulling them back apart again. We work on syllables and just keep building layer by layer as they grow as readers. And I really enjoy working with those younger kids. So that's one of my favorite parts of being at Bishop. Next slide, please. And Michelle Williams.
Caught it. Forgot to unmute. So being the young fives teacher, it's a little bit different than just regular kindergarten. In the graph, I have a little bit of snapshot to kind of give some answers because I'm sure that some of you may have them. If your child has a birthday that is from June 1st to August 31st, you have the option to go into Young Fives. If you feel like you have a child that academically doing really well, but you're really nervous about kindergarten, you're not really sure how well they're going to do, you have the option to put them into Young Fives. If your child has a September through December 1st birthday, your child will be in Young Fives and you sign with a waiver. So that is the only option that you have. Young Fives kindergarten. What is Young Fives kindergarten? So Young Fives kindergarten, I have some talking points here, but I want you to know that like Young Fives, I always think about Young Fives kindergarten as kindergarten the way that I received it, as when I was younger. I won't tell you my age. So when I was younger, because as time has gone on, the expectations for a first grader have been enormous. They've added more and more. So what's happened to the curriculum is it's pushed on to kindergartners, and a 4-year-old student starting that has a birthday on October 1st, emotionally, they're just not ready for what they have to do as a kindergartner. So it's a bridge between preschool and kindergarten that gives the student, the young learners, a head start, and that gives a really good foundation of what their learning is going to be. The environment meets their academic and their social emotional needs. So when you think about their social emotional needs, I forgot a word there, nice. So their social emotional needs, a lot of students that have that fall birthday, like I said, they might be ready emotionally or academically, but Young Fives is going to be where we spend a lot of time on their social emotional. Teach them how to talk to their body, what to do if you're feeling scared, what to do when you're feeling angry, sad. I mean, everyone does that, but we spend a lot of time with that in our classrooms. And then the learning environment is, I can't see that last one. Oh, they learn through play and focus on social and emotional development. So we still do some of the kindergarten standards, but we also focus on a lot of play and a lot of social emotional. We do a lot of fine motor work activities to get them ready for the rigorous activities and expectations of a kindergartner. If you have more questions, we can answer those at the end. But yes, kindergarten, Young Fives is all day, and they can ride the bus with the general students also. Next slide, please. And that's Master Warner.
Okay, so I'm going to be briefly touching on the Spanish Immersion program at Bishop Elementary. We do have a more in-depth Spanish Immersion information night coming up next Tuesday, March 16th at 6 p.m. So if you're looking for more information, we can ask some questions after today, but that'll be really where you get the majority of the information that you'll need. So the goal of Lincoln Spanish Immersion is that students are fluent and literate in 2 languages after completing the program. We started with a single K1 class in 2012, and now we have 6 classrooms housed in Bishop. We have grown through the middle school, and we now have our first generation of Spanish immersion students as 9th graders in the high school. So we're super excited about all of that growth, and we're excited to tell you more about it next Tuesday. So hope to see you there. And then up next is Miss Guck. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Master Warner. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about a really awesome highlight that we have here at Bishop, and that is that we are a green school. We have proudly been a green school since the 2016-2017 school year. And basically what that means is that we have ticked off all of these different boxes, like we recycle, we compost, we do gardening, and that has qualified us to be a Michigan Green School. We practice composting and recycling, and we also have, as I had mentioned before, raised garden beds that students help tend to as well. They're awesome to use with several of our science units. This past fall, not 2020, but 2019, we actually introduced a rain garden to the south side of our building, and the entire school got to help cultivate and build that. And that was really, really exciting. In the upper house, you'll see on the bottom of this slide that there are some older children in the upper house, and they are members of the Project Green. which is a leadership team that they often take the spotlight during our learning lunches and assemblies. And they can kind of help guide their peers about the ecological practices here at Bishop. And it's just really exciting to have that young student leadership. And with that, I am going to pass the baton over to Mrs. Laura Carl. Next slide, please.
Good evening. You know what? The other day, so I'm Laura Carl. I'm a parent of 2 Bishop students, one in the lower house and one in the middle house. I also happen to be an active member of Bravo. And tonight I'm here to discuss both of these roles. So Bravo is like a PTO. We partner with the staff and families to provide resources to our school, like some of the flexible seating options you saw earlier, as well as events for our family. In a typical school year, we host family fun night, carnival, movie nights, science nights, and more. And we invite anybody who is connected with our school community, whether you're a parent, an aunt, a guardian, a grandma, to join us. We host monthly meetings and events. And if you want more information about what Bravo is, I encourage you to join our Facebook page. It's Bravo, B-R-A-V-O. And then just in parentheses, put Bishop Elementary and you'll find us. As a parent, I, like many of you, explored many different schools in our local community when it was time for me to choose an elementary for our eldest, for both of them now, but my eldest at the time. We found our home here at Bishop. The staff was and is remarkably welcoming, and I'm so glad we chose Bishop for our school. My kids are happy here. Getting ready for tonight, I asked both of them what the best part of Bishop was, and they both excitedly yelled back at me, PDR, which I think is a big highlight for so many of our kids here. They also informed me lunch in the classroom, enrichment, which is our recess. My daughter said, Mom, we have 2 playgrounds because we now have additional playground equipment. My daughter also said, you know, art and learning sign language and Spanish in their classes and in their specials. Bishop really is a special place, and I'm so glad that we call this school our home. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to our fantastic principal, Mrs. Abby Smith.
So at Bishop Elementary, we truly believe that our mission is to educate the whole child through guided choice while providing activity-based learning in a safe and respectful environment. I also currently have a daughter in the 7th grade at Lincoln Middle School, and she was at Bishop kindergarten through 5th grade, and she thrived in our program. And I am so grateful that we have a multi-age program in our district for the benefit of all of our students. The next part of the presentation, I will be turning back over to Mrs. Curry, because what she's going to do next is kind of walk you through the steps of actually what the enrollment process is like. And then after Mrs. Curry does that part, we will have a Q&A opportunity. So if you have any questions, you can ask us then. Thank you.
So the next steps for our kindergarten families is to complete the kindergarten enrollment. Our first round of placements will be done in May. We do make every effort to accommodate family preferences based on space available in any one of our 3 wonderful schools. We do take into account siblings, and in the case of Childs, the geographic neighborhood. We do use Registration Gateway. It's an online enrollment form. You'll go in, you'll create an account, complete the information, and then submit paperwork also electronically. This does include our model families who are in GSRP and early childhood special ed. So they will need to go in and complete that paperwork or that online registration as well. All of our paperwork is submitted electronically and there's steps through to do that. Our plan is to notify families of their building placement early June. And then classroom and teacher placements generally are done late in August, just before school. We do have school of choice. We are open to students within Washtenaw and the contiguous counties. Our online application for school of choice is expected to be open in mid-April. So that link will be available on our website. And this year's a little bit different if you've gone through kindergarten roundup before. We're doing our enrollment process of getting kids signed up, getting them into our systems, getting their name on our lists in May and June, and then doing the screenings that we would normally do through our roundup process, moving those back to August. Normally that's a round robin. You're moving from station to station into station, and with social distancing, we felt it was best to move that back into August for everyone. And we will be providing more information after we've identified some of the processes that we'll be doing for those summer screenings. So more information over summer will be coming to set up appointments for student screenings. Our online enrollment, if you go to our front page, lincolnk12.org, you'll see buttons right below the picture that say enrollment. If you click through to that, you'll go to the enrollment page, and there is a page for kindergarten school year 21-22. So if you click through to that, it will give you everything that you need required to submit for enrollment. We need a birth certificate, we need an ID from a parent or a guardian, immunizations up to date. Kindergartens and young 5 students do need a well-checked health appraisal from their doctor, and then a proof of residency. Again, those are submitted electronically. It's as easy as taking a picture with your camera and uploading it to the document links that we have. So you would create an account in Registration Gateway. If you've created an account for an older sibling, you'll just add the child to your existing account. Model Elementary is a preschool available. A lot of times these meetings are the first time anyone's connected with us, so we want to remind everybody that we do have preschool programs available through our Model Elementary Early Childhood Center. They offer programs for children birth to age 5, and those are designed to meet the diverse and unique needs of the children and families of the community. Those include Great Start Readiness Preschool, Head Start Preschool, early childhood special education classrooms, and evaluation and support services for kids in birth to age 5. If you have questions about those programs, we encourage you to contact Model Elementary, and they'll be happy to provide you with more information. And also, we're pretty excited at this point, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to offer some summer activities. We have had reading in the park previous years. We weren't able to do it this past summer, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to bring them back on campus for reading nights. We do guest readers, free books, activities. The library comes out. And so once a month, we'll be doing a reading in the park at Splitter Park, which is right next to the middle school tennis courts. Just a great activity, night for everybody to come out, interact, get some reading in. And then, unfortunately, we're not planning to do our bounce back to school, which is a big event, hundreds of people. But for safety reasons, we're choosing to do a food truck rally this year on August 19th in the elementary bus loops. So we want to get people on campus. We want this interaction. We want it to be exciting to be back to school, but we are taking a very safe route to do that. So go ahead and mark your calendars for these events that we have going. And with that, we have Q&A. So feel free to put your questions in the Q&A or chat, and our panelists will take a look at them and answer them.
So one of the questions that we have is for young fives, and it says, do they stay with me for 2 years, or do they go on for another teacher in the first year? So it's a little bit, that's not a clean cut answer. I'm sorry. It's a very good question, and a lot of people do have that question, but it's not a clean answer. So it just depends. So it depends on a lot of different things. One of the things is this year, I am the only Young Fives teacher in the district right now. So I only have Young Fives students in my classroom. So next year, depending on what numbers are, I could be a Young Fives and a kindergarten teacher. So some of my Young Fives students could move into kindergarten with me and stay with me. So that could be what happened. Another time, what would happen if sometimes some years, every other year I've been a kindergarten and a Young Fives teacher. So I could I have had students step in as a Young Fives student. They've received all kindergarten curriculum. The parents and I both agree that they feel like they should move into first grade. So they would leave me and go into a first grade classroom, into a K-1 classroom. The other thing that would happen is if they're a Young Fives and we feel like they're kind of ready, they should go on to kindergarten. Do they need to stay with me? Sometimes they stay with me as kindergarten. Other times we put them in with another classroom for K-1. There's so many options of Young Fives when you have your Young Fives child at Bishop Elementary. So that's the question there for Young Fives. I hope that answers it.
Vicki, can you answer the questions about the school of choice? They're at the top. Like, will they be notified? Okay. You're muted.
You're muted, Vicki.
Dang it, almost made it. So yeah, school of choice applicants will be notified. So there's paperwork, an application that needs to be filled out, and then our staff in the enrollment office will have a one-on-one interactive conversation with you via email that you've been, it's a pretty quick turnaround. So within a week or so, you should be hearing back after the application is done. With kindergarten, almost always approved immediately. There's not a lot of anything that can stop them. The only things that are a problem with school of choice are behavior from a previous school district, or whether or not we can come to an agreement on special ed services from a district outside of our county. If you do have a kid that's already enrolled school of choice, yes, you do need to, it's by child. So each child has to be approved for school of choice. The health questionnaire, that's something that because a birthday could come after you do the enrollment paperwork, we do need it by fall, but it will not hold up getting enrolled.
The typical size for a, so this is my 5th year or 6th year doing Young Fives. In the Young Fives classroom, my numbers usually are anywhere, this year I have 20 students and I'm straight Young Fives. And that seems to be the normal 20 students in a classroom. There have been years where I have been a Young Fives kindergarten classroom where I have only had like 15 or 16 kids. And then if I'm a kindergarten and Young Fives classroom, my numbers kind of go up, and I have had a year where I've had 25. The typical size classroom for a K-1 classroom is usually about between, what would you say, about 24 to 26 students, ladies?
Yeah, the norm is about 25. And I did notice that someone asked about the 50-50 split. We try and balance the classrooms the best that we can between the grades, Some years it doesn't work out perfectly. The numbers just don't align, but we do try and balance them the best that we can to give both those roles, the leader, time to develop, and then not have too many of the youngers, because then they're your next year leaders. So we do try and balance it. It doesn't always align.
Someone asked a question about student screenings. Typically in a non-COVID year, we would have the students come in for sessions in usually March, April, May for kindergarten roundup, and each building would host that for one or two dates, not specific to their building, but just as an opportunity to come in, and the students would have their hearing and vision screened. They have an opportunity to sit down with one of the K-1 teachers and just go through like the alphabet, book conventions, that sort of thing. They would sit at a table, usually with me, and maybe draw a picture of themselves, and I would just try and engage them in conversation. One, to get them more comfortable with being there, especially if they're a little shy, but also it gives me a chance to kind of listen to speech and give suggestions to parents or answer any questions about special education services at that time.
So to follow up what Mrs. Clock answered, says, what are the screenings? So she talked about that. The screenings that we're looking for in young fives is we will check their letter knowledge and their phonics, and then we will also ask them some basic questions about colors, counting, number recognition, and then depending on how the student is, we may go a little further. So there's like, it's a lot of the MLPP stuff that it's just like an assessment that we use in the state of Michigan that we kind of look at. So that'll be a screener. Mrs. Curry, if you could correct me if I'm wrong. So they're going to enroll as a student. You will be placed in your buildings. This is where it's different. So I really want to make sure I emphasize this, because if you have an older child, it's going to be a lot different. You would, in a normal year after today, you would sign up for a screening kindergarten roundup that will start next month or the end of this month, and that's not going to happen this year. So you will enroll, you will get your placement, and then in August, that is when we will do the kindergarten roundup. So you'll know your placement and what building you're going to be in before we do the kindergarten roundup. And the kindergarten roundup will it just helps us kind of do the best we can to balance our classrooms with that information that we collect in kindergarten roundup. Is that, would that be correct, Mrs. Curry?
Yes, that is exactly it.
Thank you.
There's a couple questions about school of choice. School of choice first, get that approval, do the paperwork for the enrollment. And as I said, kindergarten, we generally don't have any problem getting them approved quickly, so that shouldn't be a holdup. We don't have limited spaces on school of choice for incoming kids. So it's not first come, first serve, but we do have space availability within the buildings. So yes, you want to do it quicker, sooner rather than later, to accommodate being able to get your first choice based on the number of spaces we have available in the buildings in the first round of placements. But it is two separate things. There is a school of choice application and there is the enrollment. If you're an in-district resident, you just do the enrollment. If you're out of district coming in school of choice, do the school of choice first. As I said, that will be open mid-April.
To answer one of the questions, so typically what we do absolutely try to do is make sure that if you have an established relationship with a teacher, then, you know, when we start creating our groupings for the next year, we do always try to keep a family with the same teacher if that's possible. It's also like a good idea that if you have a student or if you have a child, they're your children, not your students. Sorry. If you have a child and you had a positive experience with a specific teacher, that, you know, when you begin the enrollment or when you fill out the registration, or always contact the school. You can talk to Mrs. Allen or email me and just say, hey, we had Mrs. Cole. We loved Mrs. Cole. We want Mrs. Cole again. those are things we do take into consideration. Not a promise, but we definitely try.
There's a question from parents who did not attend this year, though they planned to and they enrolled. Yes, you do need to complete the enrollment process again. We want to make sure we have the most up-to-date information on immunizations, emergency contacts, all of that information is gathered during that time. So yes, you would just go in and re-enroll the student as if you're enrolling them for the first time.
There is also a question in the chat about whether kindergarten be placed in K1 or the Young Fives classroom. How will they decide? All students that have that fall birthday will be in the Young Fives classroom. If I'm a Young Fives and kindergarten classroom, I still take all of the fall birthdays because the students in my classroom, we do a lot more of the social emotional. I have more time for it in my day than a K1 classroom does. Not that they don't spend time doing that. I just have more opportunity in my classroom. So that's typically how it is placed. And then also if, there's preference when you have a child that has a Young Fives birthday, you really do have a lot more choice in when you enroll or where you enroll your child at. I hope that answers the question.
So Mrs. Curry, just to clarify, because I think, and I apologize, I tried to go back and find the person. I think I gave the wrong answer to somebody when I typed. So if you are school of choice and you know that you're out of district, so you should not do anything with enrollment until April?
You can.
Okay.
It's just that until we get the school of choice taken care of, we can't finalize the enrollment. So
okay.
There's no harm doing both at the same time. You can get started on the enrollment, but just know we can't finalize it until we get the school of choice paperwork approved.
Okay, thank you. I would like to, how are we incorporating themes of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our classrooms and in our school culture? So interesting little thing. So to become the principal, even though you already have 2 master's degrees, you still have to go back to school to earn a certification in becoming an administrator. So I just finished my first course, and that was my project, was on our school culture, and how doing a 6-week project on that. One of the things that I can tell you with great pride is that our superintendent has made equity and diversity a #1 priority for all staff members, to the point that our current, Mrs. Curry can vouch with this, we're in the same group. The entire administrative team has been participating in a book club project since the beginning of the school year, Courageous Conversations. We are working hand in hand with the WISD. We currently have 20 Bishop staff members participating in the Justice Leaders training through the WISD. A big push for me in this building is I want our students, when they walk into this building, to see faces that look like their own. So we just started a I Am Special Because project. And so all of the teachers worked with their students, and every student created a poster of what makes them special. And then we are blessed to have 3 noon supervisors who are also parents and Bravo parents, who have been staying and taking pictures, because they came in to be noon supervisors, and they've been taking pictures of the students. So we're getting those put up. We have a professional photographer who's been coming in to take pictures. We are purchasing 20 by 60 posters of our students. It is a huge, huge thing for us that we want to make sure that every student at Bishop sees themselves, and that they feel that they are being represented, their voice is heard. Our teachers are we're all going through this Justice Leaders training to understand that, as even me as a white woman with a biracial child, that there's a whole lot I still need to learn about how I'm approaching children of color. And so it is something that we are working with. And that isn't just a Bishop thing. I mean, there's teachers across the district participating in this, administrators across the board. So it is something that we do take seriously, and we want to make sure that our students feel welcome, safe, and comfortable.
So there's a question about the health appraisal. Because birthdays come after school starts, that is something that won't hold up your enrollment. But if you have specific questions about enrollment and a form, just email enrollment@Lincoln-K-12, and we have a team of people who can answer your questions.
What kind of ongoing trainings do the teachers receive? Our district, I guess.
Abby, can I take that?
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
One of my previous hats is literacy coach, and one of the things that we do to help support all of our teachers is do trainings with the 10 essentials. And the 10 essentials basically are a set of guidelines for reading instruction that are research-based practices that help teachers focus in on what helps kids learn to read best. And so we've been working on that in the past. This year, because life's awfully complicated, we have not done so much of that training as much as training in all kinds of other things. But I can't wait, you know, I'm looking forward to it. We'll be getting back to that soon to make sure. Plus, I know that people are getting other kinds of training. I participated in a dyslexia training a couple of weeks ago, and I also was able to do a training on early literacy through the University of Michigan. So I'm gathering these pieces, so when everybody's ready to listen, I'm looking forward to sharing that information out. So we have a very active professional development program through our school.
So I hope and believe that we were able to answer most, if not all, of the questions. It is a little after 7, and I do want to be really respectful of your time, and also all the amazing staff members on this call, as they still have work to do tonight to get Google Slides and things ready for tomorrow. So I just want to thank all of you for participating. If anyone feels they did not get an answer to a question, or you need further discussion, please don't hesitate to call Bishop. Go on the website. You can get our email, my email address. I'm here every day. So I will gladly respond to anything. And if I don't know the answer, I will definitely make sure I ask the person. So we are so grateful for all of you taking time tonight. Teachers and staff, thank you. Mwah, mwah. I couldn't do it without you. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you.